Neil Druckmann, the Vice President of Naughty Dog. You may not know the name Neil Druckmann, but I am sure you have heard of the work that he's been a part of. He has heavily impacted the direction of one of the greatest game developers of all time, Naughty Dog. Quality, consistency, ambition, creative direction, these qualities of Naughty Dog are also represented through Neil. Now, in no way do I think Neil Druckmann single-handedly created the highly regarded games that he has worked on. Of course, he has an extremely talented team of developers working with him. It is so clear that the Naughty Dog team has talent in every department. You can see it in every one of their game series. Crash Bandicoot, Jak, Uncharted, and The Last of Us. These games include fluid and fun gameplay, unique art style, iconic characters, masterful storytelling, spectacular gameplay sequences, and graphic visuals that always push the current hardware. But before Neil became the vice president of the huge PlayStation exclusive developers, Druckmann started with a more humble role. So let's go back to 2004 to a young and ambitious Neil Druckmann. Hired on as an intern programming for the PS2 series Jak. By Jak 3, Neil was hired as a full-time game programmer, but design was his real goal. And he was able to get this role of game designer for the new Naughty Dog IP, Uncharted. After working closely with Uncharted director Amy Hennig, Neil was promoted to lead game designer for the second installment of the series, Uncharted 2. Neil definitely learned from the best in the industry while working closely with the Uncharted developers. After Uncharted 2, Neil was then tasked with creating an original design and story for a new Jak game and an Uncharted motion comic. At this point, Neil is starting to hold the reins in his own hands. Part of Naughty Dog was working on the next Uncharted, but another team was working secretly on a new project. This project was originally supposed to be a new Jak installment, but it didn't really work out that way, so the group set out to create a new game. This game would feature an original story and design from Neil. But Neil actually came up with this idea back in his college days. His idea was to merge the concept of Ico, where a strong protagonist escorts another protagonist, with characters from the neo-noir Sin City. At the time, he pitched his interesting idea to a filmmaker and a comic book publisher. Both rejected him. Finally, many years later, Neil was able to turn his evolved idea into a new game with Naughty Dog. Thankfully. This new game happens to be a game called The Last of Us, and the result is a masterpiece. The Last of Us was a new frontier for Naughty Dog. Definitely made for a more mature audience, The Last of Us is by far the darkest but most grounded game to be released from Naughty Dog. This is where the awards come in. Best storytelling, best writing, best story 4 times, best script, outstanding achievement in video game writing 2 times, outstanding achievement in video game story, excellence in narrative, best narrative. And don't forget the DLC, there are a few more awards for that. So does this game deserve all of these awards?
Yeah, it does. Even though The Last of Us is set in a fictional version of our world, it feels so incredibly real. You get so immersed with the story, with the world, with everything that is going on around you. I have never been more closely attached to video game characters as much as I have been with Joel and Ellie. An emotional game for sure. The story deals with some very dark themes. It is a huge step away from the playful Uncharted series, but it is a bold and confident step. And the things I dealt with in The Last of Us will stay with me forever. This game is so good on the first playthrough, the second playthrough, the third, the fourth, the fifth. You see where I'm going with this, so if you haven't played this game, then just go play it right now. Neil's story doesn't end here. After Uncharted 3, the very successful director Amy Hennig stepped down. But we need an Uncharted 4, so someone needs to step up to fill her void, and that's right, Neil Druckmann, creative director and game director for Uncharted 4. Enter in some more awards that I'm not going to list out at this time because there's just way too many. And of course, Uncharted 4 was another fantastic entry into the series. It had the same core feeling as other Uncharted games, but this time it had a more mature and grounded story, which sounds exactly like Neil. So what is next for Neil Druckmann? Well, Neil was just promoted to vice president of Naughty Dog early this year, from intern to vice president in 14 years. Not too shabby. And his work does not stop now. The highly anticipated sequel to The Last of Us will be coming hopefully soon. I know it will be very hard to live up to the high standards set from the first game, but I don't expect Neil and his team to drop the ball now. I look forward to seeing what this visionary has in store for us next. For more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.
The beginning is like, we have these mechanics, how can we exploit them in a narrative sense? And that's one of those opportunities.
I just think it's incredible that that happens in game. It's not a cinematic, you know. It's something that adds weight to that controller when they're playing.
Wow, so good!
Let's go eat.
Let's go eat.